Roger Federer is the greatest aesthetic tennis player of all time. Hands down, it's no contest. There's never been a player whose technique looks more effortless, more elegant, more perfect. But here's the truth about his playstyle and what happens if you try to play like Roger. It's one of the worst things you could possibly do for your tennis development. You just can't. And honestly, you shouldn't even try. Now, let's talk about why. But before we get into this, do us a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and drop a comment telling us which pro you tried to copy when you first picked up a racket. We know half of you are going to lie and say nobody, but we all know you were out there trying to hit a tweener after watching Federer highlights at 2 a.m. Alright, let's get into it. So look, we love the one-hander. It's gorgeous, poetic. It's the tennis version of vinyl records. Classy, nostalgic, but at the same time, completely impractical. How many of you actually have a working record player at your house right now? Federer's one-handed backhand worked for him because he had perfect timing. He had some of the world's best footwork. He grew up in an era where the ball wasn't bouncing over people's heads like it does today. Your local 4.0 opponent hitting heavy topspin with a semi-western grip? Yeah, that ball is going to jump over your shoulder and laugh at you trying to hit that one-handed backhand above your shoulder. The one-hander requires earlier preparation, a higher contact point, more precise footwork, more physical strength, better timing, and especially zero hesitation. In 2025, that's a combination that fewer and fewer players have, especially at the club level. This is why youth academies barely teach it anymore. It's the sword in the age of guns, so to speak. Federer could pull it off, you probably not. Everyone loves Fed's volleys. Soft hands, loose wrist, that little feather touch he does like he's painting a brushstroke. But here's the thing. Roger Federer has the loosest wrists of any player in tennis history. Most recreational players should have steady hands at the net. Watch Alcaraz hit his forehand volley. The form is perfect. Federer's all style, not so much form. Now, Federer could take pace off a 95-mile-per-hour passing shot with a flick of the wrist, and if you try to do that, well, you're most likely deflecting that thing straight into the back of the fence. His caress of the ball volley technique is the least reproducible part of his game, because he's not punching volleys like the Bryan brothers. He's not stabbing volleys like Edberg. He's literally doing art, not technique. And if you try to copy Federer at the net, you're going to develop horrible habits. Loose hands, over-touching balls, no stability, no structure. Now this is the Federer trap. You watch him and he's gliding, floating, casually flicking winners with what looks like zero effort. No, well, it's just not the case. And we're sure many of you know. But Roger Federer is working way harder than he looks. That effortless look, it's an illusion built on insane coordination, elite balance, perfect timing, a genetic lottery of footwork, and a cannon designed as a relaxed arm, and 30 years of reps that you'll just never catch up to as on the recreational level. Most people don't understand this. If you try to play effortless tennis like Federer, you're gonna end up playing lazy tennis. You're not gonna float in position. You're not gonna glide into your forehand. You're not gonna casually redirect pace like you're on a cloud. What you'll most likely do is arrive late, arm the ball, lose balance, hit everything short, and probably blame your racket string tension or some bull like that. Like it's the racket's fault you're not a Swiss demigod. Trying to mimic Federer's effortlessness is the fastest way to lose intensity, structure, and just lose points. Now, do you know why Federer uses an Eastern forehand grip? Well, because he grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. And that era of tennis, flatter balls, slower racket head speeds, lower bounces. No one was really hitting 5,000 RPM forehands with poly strings. And today? Well, we all agree the game is heavier, spinnier, faster, higher bouncing, more physical, more extreme in grip structure by far. And this is why the modern forehand is almost always semi-Western or full Western even, with massive lag and insane racket speed. Try flicking a low slice over the net with high topspin using an Eastern forehand grip like Federer. Oh, what happened? You framed it? Oh, it launched into orbit? You now hate tennis? Exactly. Federer got away with it because he had god-tier timing and footwork. Now, here's the real reason why we hate when amateurs try to play like Federer. It teaches every wrong habit. Things like being too loose, standing too tall, taking the ball too early, not using enough spin, using too much wrist, being too nonchalant, taking casual swings, thinking style is as important as stability. Wherein Federer's game is truly built on exceptionally early prep, super compact footwork, hidden explosiveness, and a freakish level of athletic feel. Now, most people see how relaxed he is, but what they don't interpret is the violent acceleration underneath that relaxation. Trying to copy him is like trying to copy Steph Curry's jump shot form without realizing he spent 20 years building wrist strength and touch. You're copying the vibe, not the technique. Now, if you really want someone to model your game after, pick someone whose technique is repeatable, structurally sound, not dependent on talent, not dependent on timing perfection, and not dependent on having unbelievable Swiss footwork. Players like Djokovic's solidity, or Alcaraz's hybrid rotation, or Sinner's clean fundamentals, or Rune's modern backhand structure, or Sabalenka's forehand mechanics, or Rybakina's footwork. Federer is a one of one, and trying to copy him is like trying to copy Michael Jordan. It's just not gonna happen. You're just gonna hurt yourself. So we're sorry. We know he's the best. We know he's smooth, beautiful, intense, perfect. We know he's the reason half of you in the comments picked up a racket. But if you actually want to get better at tennis, don't model your game after Roger Federer. Appreciate him, study him, frame him on your wall. For the love of your ranking, UTR, or NTRP, whatever you use, don't play like him. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, you might as well hit that like button, drop a comment telling us which pro you try to copy, and subscribe for more brutally honest tennis truths. See you next time.